morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, it's Tuesday, and welcome to August, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to August. Really excited. It's my birthday month, so yeah, I always love August. I just made being a Leo, so yeah, I would rather be that. So good stuff. Welcome back this morning. Thank you very much for joining me so early on this Tuesday morning. And yeah, how are you doing? How are things? You know, how's the business going? How are your clients doing? You know, your family, everybody okay? You know, there's some things that happen, and more stories that I hear about people really having to deal with some difficult situations. We were supposed to have our first guest this morning, our first female guest, but unfortunately yesterday she had to cancel, and it's just, it's one of those things. We're going to do that in September now. It's just that it's a family situation, and unfortunately nothing that we can do about it. So I thought, I can either freak out or I can come up with something to talk to you about today. So I did the latter, and that's all good. So that's how it goes. And still on Friday we're going to have another our first female guest, which will be Siba. And I'm really looking forward to talking to Siba and to sharing her story and insights and all of that with you. So Friday at 3 p.m., Siba and I will be here. And please come and join us and celebrate, the wonderful being that is called a woman. And I really look forward to the rest of this month and everything that we're going to be discussing. So yeah, all good stuff. Let me see quickly. Good morning. Casper, you were in early, so good morning to you. Thank you very much. Malcolm, yes, 577. This is all thanks to Kobus Klein. So Kobus, I don't know if you saw on LinkedIn, he did a phenomenal post, without me asking or anything. It's just one of those things, sometimes you get this notification to say, you've been tagged. And then you go have a look and then you see some of these wonderful posts. So yeah, it's all because of what Kobus did, and then also all those of other people got on board. Johan Vosloo shared, and I can't remember everybody's names now, but there's been several people that were sharing. So Wouter Snyman also shared with a phenomenal message that went with that. And it's not just about sharing sort of the post. It's really about everything that they say around this post, what is said as part of the sharing and all of that, and that's really what makes me so humble and thankful. So good stuff. But yeah, so we went from 542 on the weekend on Saturday, I think, and now we're standing on 577 this morning. So Kobus, thank you. What is Kobus saying? Frans was so happy that the MDRT virtual convention day 2 only starts at 9 a.m. So I better get going. Now I can still maintain my record. Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Kobus, for joining us again and again for helping me get the word out there. And everybody else that's also helping, so now in the moment, so I didn't make a list of names, but I still will, because, saying thank you to me is extremely important. So I will definitely do that. And for everybody that has subscribed, that watched the show, thank you very much. I deeply appreciate it. Alrighty, Almin, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you too. Tinus Brits, there you go. Thank you, Tinus. Welcome terug. Razan, good morning. Welcome. It's been a year, so she's talking there to Kobus. So let me move on. Conrad, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Conrad and Khadzi Handi. Good morning, welcome back. Terence, good morning. Where is your good morning? Come on, Terence. Jaco van Skalkwyk, goeiemôre. Rihanna Barenhorst, welcome. Very nice to have you here, all the way there from LinkedIn. Thank you very much. It was nice running into you the other day as well. Well, not literally, because I would hurt you if I were to run into you literally. But we got to exchange a few words recently at the shop. So yeah, it was good seeing you. Arun, good morning, Arun. Nice to have you with us. Dani Malan, Kuketsu, Innocent, good morning. I was just looking forward today. Love your Captain Marvel pick. Yes, it's specifically for Women's Month. So that is the main reason. So good morning. Innocent was on the show. I think it was episode 19. Where we spoke about, this whole work from home, when that was still a major thing that we were adapting to. But Innocent also recently started I don't know if it's a show, Innocent, but it's definitely a video. It's called Performance Cafe. And I really like the whole vibe and the look and feel of it. So well done to you. And I like it short and sweet. So go have a look at that. I saw it on LinkedIn. I'm not sure if she posted anywhere else. But do go check that out and connect with her on LinkedIn. So Johan Vosloo, good morning. Goeiemôre, môre. Mike Kidwell, Mike, good morning. You were also kind in sharing and commenting on that post that I was talking about earlier. Thank you very much. Carol, good morning. Jared, there you go. And then Denise, good morning. So yeah, that rounds up all the hellos this morning. So let me get into this. I'm not going to keep you long this morning. I've got a few things about agendas, but I also know, like I said, I'm not going to keep you long, and then it does go to 40 minutes, but let's see. So one of the things that I just want to share with you, what I started doing, I used to have an Instagram account, and I actually deleted my account about a year or so ago. And lo and behold, when I went back, everything was still there. So yeah, it doesn't help telling Facebook to delete your stuff. I'm just putting that out on the record. But yeah, so I've decided to share a lot of my behind the scenes stuff. So not only the studio and the equipment I use and what it looks like in here and all that kind of stuff, but also like when we prepare for things and when we maybe start creating new courses and just sort of sharing the process and short little clips and things like that. I thought that would be more appropriate to do that on Instagram. So if you want to follow me, you're more than welcome to. My handle there is Francois DTZA. So I actually use that handle in most places. It's on LinkedIn. It's the same. I think it's only my YouTube channel that actually says Francois DTZA. ZA. But the rest of them, my Twitter handle, everything is Francois DTZA. So yeah, you're more than welcome to do that and follow me. I've already started sharing some of the behind the scenes photos from the studio, what it actually looks like in the studio. So go check it out. That'll be awesome if you want to connect there with me as well. And yeah, so connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't already. Please do that. I welcome that. So yeah, good stuff. And then just lastly, I just quickly want to mention again, I'm going to do a full review on this, but it'll be a separate video. I'm not going to do it on the show. I'm going to look at advisor.co.za. I spoke about this on Friday. It's a rating system where clients can go and rate financial advisors. They can also go look for financial advisors. And everybody is on there because the system is populated from the FSCA's database, obviously with the information that is public from there. And so that is where it comes from. And you can go and complete your profile so that you can stand out and make sure that people see you. It's absolutely free. And then if there's certain functionality that you want, you can opt for the premium version of that. And I think that's something like, I know it's like 99 Rand a month. I'm not sure what the annual amount is, but if you do want to get the annual one, you can get 250 Rand off during the month of August. If you get the annual plan, you just use the code Propulsion 250, and then you'll get 250 Rand off that first year. And you can go check it out. So go check it out at advisor.co.za. I'm going to give a shout out to them as well. I think this is awesome. It looks amazing. And the best thing of all, if you have this and people are rating you, because you can ask your clients to go and rate you and all that kind of stuff as well, you can actually embed this into your Profile Me card. If you've got a Profile Me app or card, then this can be one of the things that can be embedded there. So yeah, I think these things start to work together very, very nicely. Alrighty, so that's all good stuff. Lekker, Martha. Nice to see you. Good morning, Martha. Innocent says, it's a vlog. Thanks, Francois. It's on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Fantastic. So, yeah, and what I like about it, it's short, but it's so nice. I mean, I love what you've discussed in that first episode there, Innocent. So, yeah, I think it is amazing. She was talking about pimples. Go check it out. It's quite amazing and how she pulls things together. So she's quite a good speaker. Good stuff. Alrighty, so there we go. Let's get into this today. So first off, I mean, I'm going to talk about agendas, obviously. So an agenda, and why do I want to talk about this? I mean, let me maybe start there. So why do I want to talk about agendas? This seems to be such a boring thing. Francois, was this the last thing on your list that you could grab in a case of emergency? No, it's not. I've actually been watching a lot of people talk on XY Advisor. I've looked at people on LinkedIn. There's a few other places where this whole topic has crept up, where people are asking for agendas. And in fact, in my Ascend program that we did in December last year, where we helped advisors prepare for 2020, did we know about Corona? No, we did not. But Yeah, so we looked at as part of that. I'm a big believer in having an agenda for a meeting, and I'm going to talk about my reasons for that in a second. But so it was all these things. Me talking about it in December with the group of people that attended Ascend, then seeing it on XY Advisor, seeing it on LinkedIn. I just thought, like, I think this is starting to become a relevant topic. And why not talk about it? So so if we start off, I mean, what is an agenda? I guess most people would maybe know what that is. But I think when it comes to an agenda, we really link it to a very formal meeting. It's like everybody's dressed in suits and ties and everybody's quiet. And it's a very, very formal kind of thing. But in its bare essence, an agenda is simply what is going to be discussed at the meeting and what are the order of topics going to be. So this is what we're going to talk about, and this is the order in which we're going to talk about these things. So it's very, very simple. So it does formalize the meeting, quite significantly, and I think that is good. And I'm going to talk about, like, is it useful or is it even worth it? I'm going to talk about that in a second. But and there I will allude a little bit more to what the value is of using this agenda. So I guess you can already hear from my tone is that I'm very pro the agenda. And maybe you can shout out in the comments, are you using an agenda for all your meetings or for most of your meetings or for some of your meetings, or don't you use an agenda? Have you ever thought about using an agenda? I don't know, share your views and your opinions with me. Please, down in the chat, and while you're there, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Don't be shy. We're really trying to get to 1,000, but now the next goal is 600, and we're well on our way. As I said, thanks to Kobus, who's really gone out of his way to help with that, and I'm deeply grateful for that. Alrighty, so please, in the comments, just put down, do you use an agenda? Have you ever thought about using an agenda? If you are using an agenda, is it working for you or not? Could you see, like, have you always used an agenda maybe? So that kind of stuff, please share with me, even if you're watching the recording. In the comments below, most of the people will now answer in the live chat, but, in the comments, or if you're on LinkedIn, in the comments, please share with me, if you are doing this and how you find it. But, I mean, is it really worth it? Because if you think about, if you have a meeting, it's easy setting up the meeting, getting the time and the date and the topic and whatever needs to happen. Oh, we're going to review your portfolio, or we're going to review your financial planning, or this is a new client that you're meeting, whatever the case may be. That's easy, right? It's easy to set it up. But to put together the agenda can be tedious, I think, for some. And I think that, if we look at agendas, there's maybe a way to make that easier. So I'll talk about that in a second. But is it useful? And is it even worth all this effort that one needs to go through to have this agenda? Because it needs to be typed out. It needs to look nice. It needs to be sent to the client that's coming to see you, all of that kind of stuff. So for me, is it useful? Absolutely, because I think it just bumps up your level of professionalism quite considerably. Because I can guarantee you, specifically if it's a new client, when they come and visit you, they never had an agenda for any meeting with any financial advisor before. I mean, I would like to know, if you meet a client at a Mug and Bean or a Doppio or somewhere, are you giving them an agenda before the time? Or is it very informal? And then in your head, you know what's going to be discussed. The client has absolutely no idea. They know you're coming to see them about a financial planning or about a policy or about an investment or whatever that is. But do they really know what to expect from that meeting? So for me, if you have an agenda, that level of professionalism is just going to increase dramatically. And it doesn't really even matter what business you're in. If you're meeting with clients, an agenda, in my mind, is really worth it. It provides structure. As I said, they're going to know exactly what's going to happen, the order in which it's going to happen. And there's clear expectations. I've spoken about expectations many times before on the show. And I mean, we even had the story about the old man, the boy, and the donkey, remember? Where we spoke about that. And that all comes down to expectations. And how do you set expectations? I mean, you can't even manage expectations if you haven't set the expectations. So how do you set those expectations? Well, you set them simply by having an agenda. then they know exactly what's going to happen. They may not know exactly what's going to be discussed, but at least they know all the points. And that is quite important. It also, I think what one of the main benefits of an agenda is that it will set the time frame that is necessary to have this meeting. Because on the agenda, you could actually say 10 minutes for this, 20 minutes for this, 10 minutes for this, whatever the case may be, and it sets that. And one shouldn't be afraid to set those time frames because it speaks to your professionalism. Yes, there will be time to chit-chat about the kids and the dogs and the cats and all of that, but, having the set times, and then everybody knows to stick to it. If someone in the meeting is quickly going to say, oh, we're running out of time, we need to do this, or no, we should stop talking about rugby and start talking about this, because you've set the expectation. But if there is nothing, then people will just carry on and just it'll be like just visiting friends. And that's also good, don't get me wrong. But as far as business is concerned, I don't think that that's a good strategy. It then obviously ensures a flow. I've said it sets out the order and all of that. So there is a flow to the meeting. There is a rhythm to the meeting if you have an agenda. I think about like our competency committee meetings. We always have agendas. It's sent out before the time. There's minutes after this to sort of say, well, and also, and that's one of the things that I think helps quite a lot with having an agenda. There's something that one could refer back to after the meeting, but I'll get to that in a second. And then obviously, if I sent you an agenda before the meeting, so let's say a day or 2 or 3 before the meeting, I send you the agenda for the meeting, you can prepare. You can be a lot better prepared. If you know I'm going to ask you for all of your information, you're going to make sure that you've got all that information. If I say we're going to talk about the education of your children, for example, you are going to think about that, although you have maybe thought about it before, but now before the meeting, you're really going to think about it. And you're going to come a lot more prepared to that meeting. You, and then if I say you, that's interchangeable with the client, obviously. So the client will come to the meeting much more prepared. So that's important. And then, if I've got now, I've got something that we can refer back to and to say, well, was this meeting successful? Yes or no? Did we achieve the outcomes that we wanted to? Did we stick to our time frame? Did we, just was this worth our time? But if you don't have an agenda, how do you measure that? There's absolutely no way of measuring that. So that's quite important. Let me have a look quickly at what everybody is saying. We've got Louis Jooste as well in the house. Good morning, Louis. Thank you for connecting with me recently and for subscribing. I appreciate it. Hello, Chart. Good morning. Chart says, agenda with most of meetings. Without an agenda, meeting is not structured. Yes, I've never used an agenda within my practice for client meetings. My agenda is to conduct my revised based on holistic financial planning, and with new prospect, it's about a F&A. Okay, there we go. Let's try again. Yes. Okay, but you get the gist of that. What Kobus is saying. So yeah, interesting, and that's why I say it's like the different strokes for different folks. And you can decide what works for you or not, but definitely something to consider. Alrighty, so let me continue to point number 3, which is, do you need only one agenda if you have an agenda? So does that mean that you put together an agenda and you use that same agenda over and over and over again? Or you have this blank agenda, and every time that you use the blank agenda, you need to fill in what is going to be discussed. So in my mind, an agenda is something that you should have. Although you could have only one agenda or use a blank template like that, you absolutely could. But having an agenda, I would suggest that one have different agendas for different situations or for different types of clients even. So if you think about it, you could really think about, let's say, you could, like when you have a new client that's coming in for the first time, that conversation is quite different because you're trying to establish whether you can help and whether you want to help this client, whether they are a good fit for your business. And in the same way, you got to make sure that the client has sufficient information and enough of an experience to make the decision whether they want to work with you or not. So having an agenda that sets that out, particularly for that very first meeting, if you don't know someone, I think can go a long way in really amping or just bumping up that experience for that client. Also, then, if you think about the advice process, there are different phases. So there's the information gathering phase, and there's the analysis, and there's the recommendations, and the sitting with a client and sharing that with them. Maybe there's a new business kind of part if that needs to happen. So there's all these different phases to the advice process. And, you could have an agenda that is sort of set usually for that. So in the practice where I was from 2013 until end of 2015, we always used to use this. So it was just something that said client notes, but it was really structured because every time everything we wanted to discuss was typed out on that form. And it was just a matter of ticking that we did discuss it with the client and then making additional notes on that thing. So that was an agenda with client notes, all of that sort of combined into one document. And it works well. And what is amazing with that is when you need to start going back, I'm very bad at taking notes. So when you have to go back, it's much easier to see what did we talk about and we did, and the client signs it at the end and things like that. So that was a more sort of practical way of how we did it. And then obviously you have a review. A review may have a certain rhythm to it depending on what it is you're reviewing or your approach to the review. It may be that you don't deal with all the clients' information or with all of their financial planning. It's only focused, maybe only deal with the business side of things and not the personal side of things, or the other way around, for example. So those are the kind of things that one would need to look at. And also maybe in a review, it may be specifically to only look at the will and the estate and not at anything else. So it could be very, very specific. One of the things that I sort of learned over the years with looking at holistic financial planning is that it's a process. It happens over time. It's not an event. So it's very hard to try and talk about everything to a client always. Once they've been with you for a long time, I think it's easier to do that. But as you go still through the process and you're still educating clients and helping them get their things in order, doing that over a long period of time is actually an easier way for clients to stay with you and to really get value from that process. So having an agenda that actually facilitates that. And I mean, you can think about this, that you're going to get the same kind of situation, the same kind of clients over and over and over again. I mean, by now, if you've been doing this for longer than 2 years, or let's say 5 years, I mean, you can already, when you sit with a client, you can already, as they talk, know exactly what needs to happen. But you still need to go through the process because it's the first time maybe that they are going through that process. So having an agenda that sets that out, so the agenda can also, sort of play the role of a roadmap as well, but it gives that structure and they know exactly what to expect and what's going to happen down the line. What else? I don't know. Is there anything else that one needs an agenda for? You're welcome to share that with me. I'll be keen to hear. So please do that. But what about our current situation where the focus has shifted quite, to a virtual environment? So, everything has moved to virtual. Not everything. I mean, and yes, my view on that as well. While we're on that topic. So in the beginning, I thought okay, so if we never can leave our houses, obviously everything will be virtual. So that is on the one hand. But on the other hand, everybody wants to meet. Even me, I'm an introvert. I like being on my own. I get energy from being alone and everything being quiet. But I do enjoy having a one-on-one meeting. I love speaking. I love engaging with groups and training and doing all that stuff. Although my energy is depleted afterwards, it is still something that I actually now learned that I love and that I crave. So, interacting with other people face to face really makes a huge difference. So I don't think that that's going to go away at all. All of these virtual conferences and virtual conventions and all of these things that's taking place at the moment, some of them will continue like that. And I think what's going to happen is that you're going to have this option of which one you want to do. So there will be a face-to-face component. And then maybe when they sell that out, they say, well, now you can get tickets for the virtual event so that you can watch virtually if you wanted to, maybe. Or maybe they just offer both. But I don't think that, and I think now people will value traveling from Cape Town to Joburg or from Joburg to Cape Town for a convention or a conference much more. They will love spending 2 days with other people. Whereas previously it was, it's so much time, it costs so much money. I think now that we know that we've lost, we really miss that connection and we miss that face-to-face interaction, we're going to value those opportunities more. So definitely that is important. But I'm straying a little bit here. So the virtual environment is definitely here to stay. It's not going to go away, but there's going to be a blend between when do we see each other face-to-face, when do we do it virtually. And there's a lot of meetings. I had a discussion with somebody on the weekend and yesterday as well, there is a lot of meetings that we can have virtual online that can be done in 15, 20 minutes instead of driving an hour, now sitting for an hour or 2 hours because you took the time to drive there and then another hour back. People are now realizing that that's not actually necessary. In certain instances, it will definitely be viable to still do that, and it will be necessary actually to do that. But often we will have these virtual meetings. And in that case, if you really want to bump up the virtual customer experience, you've got to think about your approach. You've got to think about your process. You've got to think about how do you make it more tangible? How do you up the value of these meetings? Okay? Because sometimes we feel like we need to have an hour-long meeting in order to up the value. No, it's not about how long we have meetings. It is just about the impact of that meeting. That is what it's about. So if you can have the same impact in 20 minutes than you usually have in an hour, fantastic. So now the value has actually gone up because you saved them and yourself 40 minutes, but you still have the same impact, if not a better one. So that is quite important. I recently did just after this whole situation started, I created a program called Delivering a Great Great Virtual Customer Experience. So how do you have these meetings and how do you engage virtually? There's a whole host of things that we look at, tips and tricks, practical stuff, from how do you talk to the camera all the way through to like what do you do before, during, and after the meeting. The use of agendas is also part of that. So you can definitely go check that out on Circulus. So that's on learn.circulus.co.za. I'll put the description or the link in the description. I didn't create a banner for that. But that is something that you can go check out. So if you just go Google Circulus online, you will definitely find it. And then you can go to webinars, and under there, the very first one you'll find there is delivering a great customer experience. So you can go check that out. It's about an hour long, so doesn't take you a lot of time, but it's really practical. It's not about what you should do. It does talk about what you should do, but it also then goes through practical things about how do you do it? What do you need? We talk about all the different things that you need to consider from a technology point of view. So there's a whole host of things in that program that you can definitely go and check out. Cool stuff. So let me see quickly the comments. Good morning, Ferdi. Nice to have you with us. Good morning. And then I've got Innocent saying, for me, agendas are important to also ensure the right people are in the room. Yes, because this is so important. I'm going to finish your sentence now. But if you have an agenda, you can also decide whether you want to attend this meeting or not. So that's more on a group basis. If you invite 10 people to a meeting for business purposes, for example, maybe some of them are optional and they need to decide whether they need to be there or not, or should they take the time or not. So that's definitely important. Otherwise, decisions cannot be made and the process gets drawn out. I fully agree with you. Kuketsu agenda even helps with preparation as you guided on what you need to ensure you have prepared for the meeting. Absolutely. I fully agree with you, Kuketsu. Very valid point. The agenda is the start of your ROA, as the ROA serves as the minutes of the meeting. It's an interesting view. Agree with you, Chart, by the way. It's a good way of putting it. George, good morning, George. An agenda is a guide for both parties and can direct clients into a realistic discussion and make them aware of your professionalism. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. Good morning, Edith. Welcome. Cool beans. Happiness. Guys, so in half an hour, we've done it. So good stuff. That is sort of my story for today. I'm keen to hear more from you on this topic. You're welcome to WhatsApp me. By the way, so if you wanna get onto the WhatsApp group, if you don't get WhatsApps from me, I've made it so easy now. You can just go to www.francoisdetoy.co.za/WhatsApp, and it will take you directly to the group. So that group is admins only can post, so it's only me, so you don't have to worry. You're not going to hear about a lot of people saying something. It's basically like just me putting out a message to say, what is the episode going to be about? What can you expect? And what is the link to the latest episode? And you can also always refer back to those links to watch the recording if you missed the live episode. So if you want to join the WhatsApp group and you're not getting a WhatsApp from me at the moment, and then the nice thing about that, if you're on the group, you can then leave. If it starts to irritate you or if you don't feel that you get value, whatever your reason is, I'm not going to be mad at you. You can always then leave easily. So there's a lot more control from that perspective. So yeah, please go check it out. If you want to join the WhatsApp group, you'll be very welcome there and I'll appreciate it. So good stuff. That is my story for today. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you on Friday with Siba. Let me see what Marty is saying. Agendas help to keep people on track with regards to what needs to be discussed, and also provides an overview of how many more discussion points to go in the allotted time. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Marty. Very nice of you to join us and for sharing your view with us. I appreciate it. Alrighty, guys, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of this. I will see you on Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Have a good week and stay safe. Bye-bye.